Hi, it's Pat Gillis here, and today I thought I would address a controversial subject, so here we go. Probably the question I get asked more than any other question is, why do we turn the horses out here and leave them turned out with their head collars or halters on? I recognize why people take them off. We don't want a horse to get caught up with something, so if you've got a full nylon head collar on a horse or a really high quality leather one, if he were to get the ring of the head collar or somehow get some part of the head collar caught around something and that doesn't break, then you've either got a horse that really pulls a lot of muscles in their neck, or even tragically, we know of a person that actually the horse died from being caught up on a fence. So I'm not suggesting that it's not a serious issue, because it is. The way we mitigate this, the risk, so to speak, is first of all, we have a very busy barn, and so the horses are watched quite often. They're not turned out and left overnight, so to speak. There's always people coming and going out to the fields to check on them. The other thing is that we buy them very inexpensive head collars that have a very poor quality leather head crown piece. That breaks so easily. We joke quite often that it breaks way too easily sometimes because we're always replacing them, but better that than the horses getting caught up. The other thing we do is we try to mitigate the risk by fixing the gate hinges. So if you have a gate like this, a metal gate, they hang on hinges. So they sort of hang on these. Hello, Maverick. So they hang on those kind of hinges. But where it's often a piece that sticks out, I'll just see if I can take this piece off just a second. Okay, so that piece sticks out. And that I always worry that if they put their head over the fence, they could get the ring of the head collar caught on that and they'd pull back and then they'd get a good wrench in their neck. However, again, our head collars would break probably before they did any real damage. But what we do is we have a tennis ball. We cover it up with tape. Obviously, I got to retape this now that I yanked it off. And then we just insert it over these. What do you think? So we just, hello, sweetheart. So we just stick it back over that so that when we tape it, now I'll have to retape it because I yanked it off. But at any rate, it protects the horse from getting his head collar, the ring of the head collar, caught on that piece that sticks out. So everything in the paddock, we try to make sure there's nothing that they can get caught on. Here's another example of that really cheap leather. You can see it's already broken a couple of times already. It's really inexpensive, poor quality leather, but it kind of works, right? Because that'll break in a heartbeat if the horse gets caught up in anything. So I happen to live on a road where there's a lot of construction going on. It's probably going to go on for a couple of years. So we have big trucks coming down this road quite often. Here comes one now. Almost every probably 2 minutes or so. It's pretty annoying. I like to believe that all of my perimeter fencing will keep the horses in, but I have had horses over the years that are pretty good jumpers, and if something were to panic them or whatever and they were to jump, they would be on that road. There is kind of a balance to this. So first of all, if I have less experienced staff or younger staff members or just anybody on a bad day, if they have to get a horse out of the field and the horses are sort of jostling around at the gate and you have to go in there to put a head collar on the horse before you can take him out, that can be a little bit dangerous for people. It's just much easier to be able to clip the horse to a head collar and get them out of the gate without too much of a kerfuffle. So those are my reasons for doing it. I understand why people say you should take the head collars off. Honestly, if I had a smaller operation, if it was just me here and I only had a couple of horses, or if I left my horses out 24/7, I might be inclined to remove head collars and try to figure out ways to offset the risk of them jumping out or anything like that. But given the circumstances at my farm, we've always felt that the safest thing is to provide the horses with inexpensive breakaway head collars. Like, I would never put a horse out in a 100% nylon head collar because those don't break at all. So that's how we sort of offset the risk. And I understand and I appreciate everybody's concern, but that's our reasoning behind it. And so far it's worked for 40 years. Anyway, thanks. Remember to thank your horse, and we'll talk to you next week.